Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Poised and Petty. This is my podcast where I share my transition from male to female, boy to babe. This will be my little podcast diary about my transition, specifically what I'm going through as someone who is trans in this thing we call life. So, this is going to be a weekly conversation that I have about gender transition, fashion, beauty, makeup, self development, and just the art of being graceful, unstoppable, and just petty enough to keep things interesting. Because, life is too short to be anything other than iconic. So if you want to follow along on my journey, I would love that. Drop a follow, drop a like, hit subscribe wherever you're listening or wherever you are watching this. All right, let's get into this episode. So, as you can tell by the title, I am going to be talking about am I trans? How to tell if you are transgender. So, let's get into it. I've got some notes that I'm going to be referring to because I want to do this justice. I want to get into some of the questions and just getting into am I trans? How to tell if you are transgender. So, first of all, what is transgender? What does it mean to be trans? So, a quick history on the term and the different terms that have been used. So, there was a German physician and sexologist, Magnus Hirschfeld, who coined the term transvestite in 1910. And so later on, that socially changed to the term transsexual in 1945 by a U.S. Psychiatrist, David Oliver Caldwell's. And then later, 20 years later, in 1965, the term transgender came from psychiatrist John Oliven. So the terms have not been used for very long when we look at human history and how long gender expression, gender identity has been throughout world culture and world history. And I would actually love to get more into that in a later episode because that is just a whole topic right there. But we're going to stick with what is transgender. So, being transgender, which is the more appropriate and common word used compared to the other ones, so that can mean that a person who was born with a penis is actually a girl, and a person who was born with a vulva, a vagina, they are actually a boy. And then there's also a person with any genital configuration may not fit in either side of the spectrum, and they would be non-binary. Okay, so at any point in one's life, people can recognize that they are either transgender or non-binary, just through questioning, experimenting, and just kind of figuring that out. All right, I'm getting a little ahead. But some of the feelings that may occur, right, is something called gender dysphoria. So what gender dysphoria is the difference between the societal pressures given to someone with a presumed gender, that difference from that and one's internal sense of self. So someone who is born with a penis and they may give off masculine male traits, but they don't, that conflicts with what they have as an identity for themselves, that may give gender dysphoria. Right? And so most trans people have that trait, that feeling of gender dysphoria, which is kind of what it can bring or go hand in hand with depression and anxiety and all these things that we try to work through. And by going either talking with friends or family, therapists, you can understand more about these feelings that may or may not be gender dysphoria. So before we get into how do I know if I'm trans, or how can one figure out if you are transgender, I just want to say that only you can say that you are trans. You can't really have someone tell you that you are trans. Someone might say that you might be, or you might want to look into that, but no one can definitely say that you are trans. Only you can. So the first thing, like just asking that question, I would say is a pretty big indicator that you might want to look into it some more with a therapist. I would highly 100% recommend finding a therapist that fits for you, that's good for you, and talk to them. I mean, they're kind of the experts on therapy. So that is my number one recommendation. But yeah, some other indicators or signs that you may be trans. You may have desires or fantasies or ideas of becoming another gender. I know personally I have had that feeling since I was a kid. I remember being very young. Gosh, I want to say like 7, 8, 9 years old, and my birthday would come up. I was so young. I don't remember honestly though. Those ages were just a guess. I don't remember. I was just very young, and for my birthday, I remember my parents would tell me, blow out the candles, make a wish, and don't tell anyone your wish, otherwise it won't come true. And I remember being so young and just wishing that I would wake up in the morning as a girl, and that I did that for years. Yeah, so that's something that I've always had, that desire to be the other gender. Another indicator is just wanting to be like them or to be them, the other gender. Another indicator could be you have discomfort with your body. It could be your body parts, your genitals, your muscles, your voice. It's something that I hate my voice so much. Yeah, and I mean, everyone feels things differently. I'm specifically talking about gender transition from male to female, because that's what I am working through. Yeah, and another one could be you like your body, your shape, what you look like in the mirror. Sometimes looking at that, it could feel off, it could feel not right. There's just a sense of being the wrong shape, like it's just not right. Like facial hair, for me, I do not like my facial hair. I am getting laser, which has been wonderful for my facial hair, but it's not 100% guaranteed like permanent hair removal. That would be electrolysis. So I do want to get that as well. But I have done laser on my face and it has been wonderful. That's, it just, yes, good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, another indicator would be feeling more at ease with the people of the other gender, or the gender that you have the desire to be. So wanting to be more friends with feminine or female people, women. You want having to have that friend group of that gender. Having a desire to dress up in the clothes of the other gender. I know that has been a wonderful thing to explore and to experiment with for myself. I have always been someone who's worn like slacks and pants. Just like black pants, dress pants. That's just something that I've always worn. But lately I've been wearing more skirts and dresses, and it just feels so good. I feel so good. I feel so cute, and yeah. So I am falling in love with skirts. I love it. Yes, like the tight, just a tight like pencil skirt. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, super tight. I like those. I like that one. Another indicator could be having like sexual fantasies of being another gender. I know that's a big popular topic among certain websites. Yeah, having this idea of gender bender, swapping genders. And then another one is like having doubts. Like, am I trans? Do I really like this? As someone who's in the process of going male to female, like doubting. I used to work out and be in the gym a lot, and then it's like, do I actually like this? Is this something that I really want to do? Is this something that I thought I needed to like? And then transitioning more and doing more feminine things, like painting my nails, doing makeup. It's like, wait, even that can have doubts of, do I like this? Is this something that I'm into? Because not everything, you may think of all the stereotypical ideas that if you're going from male to female, that, oh, I must like pink, I must like feminine things, and you'll try it, and having doubt in that as well. There are a lot of signs and indicators on things that make you want to explore and figure out if you are trans and transgender. And one thing for me was like, since I've always wanted to change genders and transition. You know, I didn't know what that was when I was so young, but I've always wanted to do that, that I thought, oh, everybody would switch genders if you could. Everyone would, you know, hit that magical button and swap genders. But that's not true. So like I said earlier, even even asking this question, am I trans, how to tell, that is an indicator on itself, because the sign of not being trans is really not wanting to transition. um, yeah, I guess most people out there don't want to change genders, don't have that desire, so that would be a sign of not being trans, if that makes sense. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, I always thought everyone would want to do it, but I guess not. Yeah, so what would be next if you were to go through these questions, through some of these indicators? I'm sure if you stumbled upon this episode, this podcast, I'm sure you've been to other sites and articles and watched videos, and you know, if you've answered those questions, like, yes, I would be interested and still have this desire to transition, what's next, right? So first you should just like write out, draw your feelings, kind of work on being a little more self-aware on how you're thinking and you're feeling. So get a journal, use your phone, talk to someone, kind of just get those feelings out, and just being more self-aware of what you're going through, instead of kind of just going through life on autopilot or pushing it away or pushing it down. Yeah, notice your body parts. How does it make you feel? You know, look at yourself in the mirror. How does it make you feel? Start, yeah, working on that awareness is a big part. I don't, where is it? I have a workbook. A workbook is a good suggestion. I have one that I was working with a therapist I had a couple of years ago. Oh, I think it's over at this. Is it over on my table here? I'll find this workbook and I will post it in the show notes if you're listening or watching this anywhere. So I recommend you can grab this workbook if you'd like. That's what I've been going through and I enjoy it. Yeah, just again, like that self-awareness, figuring out yourself is huge. It's not something that a lot of people do or have gone through. So yeah, talking with others, finding a community. There's a lot of groups out there, Discord groups, Reddit. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Reddit because it can be pretty toxic, but some people love it. So find a community, find, yeah, there's Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, you know, you can find a trans community if you'd like, or even just a community in the LGBTQ plus where you know it would be a safe environment to kind of talk about what you are feeling. And like I said in the beginning, number one recommendation would be just find a therapist and kind of start that process of, you know, am I trans? Because if you do want to transition medically and get on hormones, I think everyone, no, I don't know, maybe everyone who, most for me, my situation, to get the hormones, I had to have a therapist sign off on it and basically prescribe and say that yes, this person needs the hormones. So that is, so finding a therapist would be that step to get hormones and surgeries. And then kind of just imagine what it would feel like to try on different clothes if you have access, friends, family, partner, if you've got someone with, right, in my case, male to female, someone who's got more feminine clothing that you'd like to try on, trying a different name if you want to play with that. Yeah, and just experiment. Definitely in a safe environment. Yeah, you don't want to, I mean, if you want, by yourself, go out in public right away doing things, but I would recommend finding friends, loved ones, and kind of just staying safe with experimenting, transitioning, and expressing your gender and your identity in just a very safe way, especially in today's climate, regarding the LGBTQ plus and specifically the trans population. Okay, that was yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Yeah, I'm still deciding how long I want these episodes to be in this podcast. I do kind of like this short. We're at 20 minutes now. I do kind of like these shorter ones. But the podcasts that I listen to, especially in like being trans, they're like an hour long, and I really like the long ones. So I don't know. I am still figuring that out. I guess it's harder since I am by myself and it's kind of solo. Riding solo. Yeah. So let me know. Let me know what y'all want to talk about. I do have ideas. I know I do want to talk about and express my journey transitioning. I'll probably do that in, I think, in the next video. I'm going to do a more thorough kind of talk more about my specific transition and what I've gone through, how long it's been. It's been a very long time. Yeah, so I guess that is it. Yes. All right. I hope this has helped. If you're still watching this, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I just want to keep doing this. This is fun. I like this. So drop a like, drop a subscribe, drop a comment on what you want to hear wherever you are listening or watching this from, and I will see you next week. Bye.